Hello, my name is Shalman, you can call me Shad, and this is the second episode of Succeed at English. And today we're going to talk about how to succeed at describe image, one of the most important tasks in PTE speaking. So let's get on with it. So this is what your describe image task will look like. On the left side, you have your image, and on the right side, you have your recorder. Now you'll notice that it says beginning in 25 seconds. That means when the 25 seconds are over, the recording will start. Now these 25 seconds are your preparation time. And what you want to do is you want to look over your image and think of what are the points that you want to say. And once your 25 seconds are over, the recording will start, and at that point, do not think about anything. At that point, you just speak. Your preparation time is when you look at your image and you think about what you want to say. If you want to make up some dot points to write in your notes and just structure what you're going to say, that I'm going to say this, then this, then this, right? However you want to say it, do it in your 25 seconds of preparation time. And then once the recording starts, do not think. At that point, you only speak. So as I mentioned earlier, you have 25 seconds of preparation time, and once that is over, it will record for 40 seconds. Now what you want to do is you want to ideally finish speaking within 35 seconds. And at max you want to go up till 38 seconds. Now why should you not speak up till the 40-second mark? That is because at the 40-second mark the recording will just stop. If you speak right up till then, there's a risk of your words getting cut. And you don't want that to happen. You will lose marks. So what I suggest is that when you are practicing describe image, you practice finishing your speech within 35 seconds, and at max you go up till 38 seconds. Next we will discuss the structure with which you should answer describe image. The first thing is to introduce the image. You will give one introductory sentence that gives an overall idea of what the image is showing you. Now this is easy if you are given some kind of statistical data like a bar graph or a line graph and it has a title. In the case where you're given a title, you just have to read it out. But it's better if you're able to rephrase the title in your own words. The next thing you need to do is you have to look into the details and find some significant points that you can mention about the image. And unlike the introductory sentence, which will be just one sentence, you have to find multiple points with which you can speak until the 30-second mark. And then finally, you have your conclusion. Your conclusion will be the main idea of the image. So what I mean by that is that you look at your image and you think about what is the information that they're giving you. And what I mean by that is that you look at the image and think about the information that it's giving you and what is the main point of the image. Or what is the most significant point that you can say can be concluded from the image. And now to give you a clearer idea of how to use the structure and how to describe image in general, I've done examples of 7 different images that can come in the PTE exam. So let's have a look at these examples. The image shows the increase in average rent, house price, and income in different cities in California from the years 2011 to 2015. In San Francisco, we see the biggest change in rent, which was 64%, and in Oakland, we see the highest increase in house price, which was 67%. In Los Angeles, we see the lowest change in income, which was 3.1%, and the highest change in income was in San Jose at 8.9%. And in conclusion, we can say that there was a much greater increase in the house price and rent compared to the income. The image shows 2 line graphs that compare food price to oil price between the years of 2000 and 2009. It is interesting that the two seem to follow the same trend, which would lead one to believe that they are somehow related. The oil price is represented by the green color and the food price is represented by the red color. There is a spike in both prices sometime between 2000 and 2008. In conclusion, we can say that both food price and oil price gradually increased aside from the anomaly in late 2007. The image shows the percentage of the population of Europe that use certain web browsers. The most used web browsers is Firefox at 37.9%, followed by Internet Explorer at 36.9%. The third most used browser is Chrome at 15.5%, followed by Safari at 4.9%, and then by Opera at 4.2%. It can be concluded that the most used browsers in Europe are Firefox and Internet Explorer. The image shows two income distribution graphs of China, India, USA, and the rest of the world, one of 1970 and the other of 2000. In 1970, the annual income for China, India, and the rest of the world was under $1,000, whereas it was over $10,000 in the US. In 2000, the yearly income of India, China, and the rest of the world still seemed to be equal but significantly higher, whereas in the US, it was much higher than 10,000. In conclusion, the income of the US was the most evenly distributed in both years. The table ranks the percentage of people using boats as transport by country. The country ranked number 1 has 94.5% of its population traveling by boat. The second country is Federated States of Micronesia that has 91.1%. Cook Islands comes next with 90.9%, followed by Tonga at 90.8%. And the final country has 81.7% of its population traveling by boat. And in conclusion, we can see that there are multiple countries that has over 90% of its people traveling by boat. The image is a representation of economic inequality. On the left side, there are some settlements which seems to be slums, representing people living in poverty, whereas on the right side, there seems to be a fancy apartment complex. The property on the right has room for some recreational activities, whereas the houses on the left are tightly packed together. They seem to be put together haphazardly, leaving little space for any other facilities. In conclusion, we can say that the image shows that economic inequality is still prevalent in many places today. The image shows the life cycle of an apple tree. The cycle starts with a mature tree that is bearing fruit. The fruit at one point drops off from the trees and releases its seeds. The seeds then begin to sprout, and the plant that starts growing is also called the sprout. The sprout then grows more leaves and grows taller, becoming a sapling. The sapling continues to grow and grow more leaves and becomes a small tree. The small tree then becomes taller and becomes a tall, large adult tree, which is known as the mature tree, which bears fruits and continues the cycle. And in conclusion, this is how most trees grow. The image shows how vulnerable the countries of the world are to climate change. The least vulnerable is shown to be the US and multiple countries in Europe. The most vulnerable seem to be some African countries, India, and the island nations like Japan and Indonesia. Multiple countries in North America seem to be only intermediately vulnerable. Other countries such as Russia and Australia seem to be less vulnerable. Some countries are referred to as unrated sovereigns. A few countries in Africa are examples of these. Finally, it can be concluded that most of the Western countries are least affected by climate change.